guys, I am back as promised to share some of my drawings with you. Now I am going to have to hold the camera because there's just no way that I can stand my iPad on the stand and position it so you'll be able to see the drawing. So I do apologise for the wobbliness. I will try and keep that at a minimum. But as I said, it's the only way that I can really show the work. And well, there's not much I can do about the lighting. It's not terrible. It's a bit overcast out there, but I'm by the window and I don't know how the details are going to come through. Although the first ones don't really have that much detail, so I'm going to get right into that. They are the earlier ones before I'd taken any advice from my artist friend. So I'm hoping you can see the progress as we go along. That's really the goal. And I draw mostly characters from films and TV shows that I like, because you have to draw what you're interested in. If it's not something you're interested in, you're going to lose interest, really. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you may be familiar with some of these people in these drawings. And if you've seen my personal Instagram, then you've probably seen these pictures before. So I'm sorry. Anyway, okay, we're going to start with this one. This one was before I had any tips or any any advice from my artist friend over here, and this is not Dumbledore, this is Gandalf. So this is one of the very first. I think I'd only done one drawing before this, which is in my big sketch pad, which I haven't dragged out. This is A3 paper. Yeah, my biggest sketch pad, so it's somewhere, and I drew the dragon from Lord of the Rings. Sorry, the Hobbit. It's not in Lord of the Rings. But this is Gandalf here, and this is on the cheap paper that I talked about in the last video, so that's what this is. No tips with this one, I just decided I wanted to draw something, and there you go. That is Ian McKellen as Gandalf. Just face, top of his shoulders and his hat on there. There's nothing unusual. So that was the first one I did. And then I enjoyed doing that, so I did another one, which again was no tips or hints, and this is Gollum, also from Lord of the Rings and Hobbits. Yes, there was a long theme went on here for quite a while. This is from the waist up, and looking very, very handsome and attractive, as Gollum always does. Not much to say here, because again I'd not had any particular tips. But I have to say it was interesting to draw, because the heart of drawing is shading, and there is a lot of shading goes on here, because you can see all the muscle tone on him. He actually does have a lot of muscle for a scrawny little creature, but it's all brought out by the shading. Everything comes out by the shading. That's what brings it to life, really. So that was Gollum, and I think then I had some tips from my friend. And I am going to do another video talking about tips and hints of how to structure the drawing and how to build up. I've had a request to do that, so I will do that next time, but this is just a video to show you what I've done. So for this one I had, and hopefully you can see a bit more of a difference here, this one I had some hints and tips from my friend, my artist friend. It's a bit light. I was at this point very, very nervous to press on with the shading, so it's quite light. But this is Legolas from Lord of the Rings, played by Orlando Bloom, and it looks like him to me. It's actually starting to look like the person I was drawing. And another thing I really like about drawing characters from films is that, sorry, I'm wobbling, is that you're basically drawing two people in one, because you're drawing the character from the film, and then you join the actor, and you want to get both people in there. Excuse me, I think I'm getting a sore throat. You've got to try and get both people into one, and I love that. I love trying to get the two people in there. So hopefully you can see Orlando Bloom as well as Legolas there. But there you go. You can see there's more detail in that to the previous two drawings, because I had some more tips, but I was still quite shy with the shading and putting in details. But you can see he's got the armour on here, and he's just looking off slightly over your shoulder there, and there he is with his elf ears. I love those elf ears. So still on the Lord of the Rings there. And then, I'll slide around. I don't even know what's next, so we'll see. Do I? Oh, this was a failed one. This was a failed one of Galadriel, and this is from just under a chest up to the top of her head. When you're drawing, for me anyway, it's about the detail, and I picked a picture to copy from that was quite tiny from a distance, and I really couldn't get any detail in there, and the detail is what makes them look like the person. So for me, I just couldn't pick up any detail for this one, so it just kind of didn't work out. But she's got the elf ears, and she's wearing the nice robe here, and she's got the headdress of the elf. So that's Galadriel from Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, but not quite, because it didn't quite work out, and I was very disappointed, and I had to draw her again, which I did do later, which you'll see, hopefully to be better. And this is the Elven King Thranduil from The Hobbit. Again, honestly, I do draw other things from The Hobbit. You'll get there in a minute. Now, this one I talked about in the last video when I showed you the highlighter pencil that I'd bought. I'm going to have to kneel down because my back's killing me standing over my bed like that. Yeah, I talked about this in the last video when I was showing you the white pencil that I'd bought, that I wanted to use for flecks of highlights. Now, this character is supposed to be 3,000 years old, and looks really good for his age. He has these white flecks in his eyebrows. That's the only sign of his age. And I wanted to put the white in, and my friend had said, use a Tipex stick if you haven't got a white pencil. So I tried that, and you can see it didn't work so well. I mean, it's not totally ruined the picture when you're like back here. It looks fine. But when you get in close, you can see it's just slobbed on there with no control whatsoever. So that's why I bought the highlighter pencil, to do things like that. But that is... Ooh, I wobble when I get close. But that is the eyes of the Elven King from one particular scene in the movie. Just his eyes. And I love drawing eyes. I just love drawing eyes. So that's the very handsome Thranduil from the movie. Well, his eyes. I need to draw the whole thing. This is a better attempt at Galadriel, played by Cate Blanchett in the movies. I'm still not entirely happy with this one. Something was off. I think it's the mouth. But it is better than the last one. And I was very proud of the hair, because I have difficulty with hair. But I think her hair turned out really, really well. And you can see the light in this. But that's because she's got blonde hair. It's really easy to just draw the light in with blonde hair. But with darker hair, you need that highlighter pencil. So that was Galadriel. Excuse the wobbling. There you go. Love that headdress, but it was murder to draw. What we got next? I think I moved on to something else by that. Yes, I did move on to something else. Here he is. Here's Benedict Cumberbatch, my friend. If only. Yes, this is Ben. Again, by this point, I think I'd really got a bit more confident with the shading. However, what was I going to say? However, oh yes, by this point I decided I really hate drawing clothes. Should I take up drawing nudes? I don't know, but I hate drawing clothes. I think they're very, very boring. There's not too much here because it's just his head and his hand up against his ear there, and you just really got his collar on there. But I just hate drawing the clothes. It's just scribbling to me because I can't be bothered. So I just scribbled in his collar there. But there he is. Sorry. Yeah, that's Benedict Cumberbatch. And I really liked, I've got to say, here around his lips where he got a little bit of stubble on his upper lip. I managed to get the texture in quite well. Just there, and those beautiful eyes. Yeah. Sorry, Ben. Bye, Ben. And still we're using this cheap paper at this point, but you can see the next one is better paper. But this one here was interesting for me to do. This is my first non-human drawing, and it is a dog and it is a beagle, but it was not meant to be Tasha. I just got it under my head that I wanted to try something other than a human face, and the beagle calendar that we have in the house was hanging on the wall, and I thought I'm going to draw a dog, and it would have to be a beagle, obviously. Most of you know I'm beagle crazy. So I grabbed the calendar, and I just picked out the best picture to pick out detail from. and I started drawing this beagle, and my mum said, aren't you going to draw Tasha? And I said no, because I've not drawn a dog before and I couldn't mess up a picture of Tasha because she's special. Most of you will know that Tasha was my beagle who died a year ago, and I didn't want to mess up a picture of her. So I started drawing this, and I drew the first eye detail in, and I looked back at this drawing on the picture on the calendar, and I looked back at this eye, and then I looked at the calendar and I thought, it's different. I was trying to copy it, but the eye was different. And I carried on and I drew the rest of the face, and then I looked at it and burst into tears because this is Tasha's face. And it wasn't Tasha on the calendar, obviously, but I had copied it from the calendar, and Tasha came out, and I realised that what it is the expression in the eyes. The expression in the eyes is different to that on the calendar. It's Tasha's eyes, even though I copied them. So I somehow managed to draw my own dog without trying to. So that's interesting. And yeah, it did make me cry a little bit, that. Trying not to draw Tasha and I still managed to draw her. But there you go, that's my beagle there. And yeah, accident Tasha. And then we moved on to the paper that is more expensive and better. So hopefully you'll be able to see some difference in these drawings. This is Back to the Hobbit. No, right. This is Martin Freeman as the Hobbit himself. And you can see there is a lot more detail on this one. The clothing, which again I hated drawing, but I found out from the last drawing that I just showed you of the dog, the expression in the eyes that's where it's all at, and I just really picked on that, and I just love finding the expression in the eyes and the emotion in the eyes. So that's my thing now, is getting that emotion out. And this picture, I'm really sorry about the wobbling, guys, I really am. This picture is from the main poster for the Hobbit, for the first Hobbit, and yeah, there's not much more to say. He's just standing there with his sword looking. First time I drew this, I looked back at it and I thought, oh my goodness, he looks evil. And it was the eyes again. I had to change the eyes because he's supposed to look quite stern but not evil. Not Bilbo Baggins. He's not evil. And then I drew something not Hobbit related. This is my other TV thing that I love, which is Captain Catherine Janeway, played by Kate Mulgrew. Head and Shoulders again, and getting her expression was a lot of fun, because anybody who knows Voyager will know that she has that half smile and that particular gleam in her eye, and if you don't get that, then you haven't got Janeway, no matter how well you draw it. So that is Captain Catherine herself. And then the last one I did was Severus Snape from Harry Potter, who is my favourite Harry Potter character. I got inspired because Mum's reading the books. Working on their hair, and you can see I didn't have that pencil at the time, so what I did was I drew in the dark hair and then took that putty and lightened it up to get the highlights in the hair, but I would like to try that pencil out soon. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to go very soon. But there you go, that's my latest Severus there. And I'm currently working on another picture on that new paper that you saw in my haul, and I was going to show that work in progress, but I'm going to save it because it's a very personal drawing, and I want to share it when it's finished. So next time I do a video on this, I will show you some of the steps I used to put a picture together as requested. And I'm going to go because I'm about to hit 15 minutes. Bye guys!